Story time. I'm going to give a few examples from my personal life. I'm waiting on my tea. And ignore the washer and dryer. I'm selling stuff before I leave. I don't want to think about that. That's overwhelming me. Okay. And my son's bicycle ramp. It's a ramp for his truck to get his Kawasaki up to the bed of his truck. Anyway, I'm going to tell a few stories from my childhood about bullies. I think everybody has been bullied at least once in their life. And if you haven't been bullied, you've probably been the bully. Or I guess, okay, I'm remembering my ex-husband saying to me when our kids were little, like he was a big bully. I didn't go to school with him, but he was a bit known as a big bully. And he's like, I'd rather our kids be the bullies than be bullied. And I was like, what? No, I disagree. Our kids are going to be compassionate and loving and kind. And you know what? I do remember my kids coming home at least once in their early childhood crying over mean kids. So mission accomplished. I raised kind, compassionate humans. They were not the predators. They're not victims either, though, which is good. But I digress. So my whole point is, have you ever had the worst kind of bullies, the worst kind of people with ugly hearts are the ones who pretend to be your friend, who get close to you to gain access to your inner world, to your secrets, to your, the people that are close to you who are privy to all of who you are because you assume you're my friend, you accept me, you love me, I'm safe to be who I am without repercussion, right? And I've done this a million times in my as far as like dating the wrong guys, like narcissists who study you so that they can assemble the mask to wear in order to get you. And if that makes sense, like they find out who you are, what you're about, and then they portray themselves to be your ideal partner. And then once they suck you in, they devalue you with all the knowledge they have from, that you've given them because you trusted them. So that's the same premise that I'm going to talk about when it comes to bullies, the worst kind, the kind that pretend to be your friend. So let me start over. Have you ever had a close friend whom you shared everything with? They shared, you shared. It was like, this is my ride or die. We can tell each other everything. There's no judgment. And then they turn around and they weaponize all that against you later to serve their own purpose. Yeah, I've been there. If you've been there, you know what I'm talking about. What do you do? What do you do with someone like that? Well, the logical response is observe their behavior and give them a logical consequence, just like a 2-year-old. Oh, I'm so sorry you chose to behave that way. And unfortunately, this is what happens when you behave this way. Darn it. Oh, what's that, Janie? You're showing me who you truly are. You're showing me behavior that's actually opposite of true friendship. Well, gosh darn it. Unfortunately, that tells me that you're not my friend. That means you don't get access to my heart, to my life, to my world, to anything about me, really, to any of my energy. Scissor time, time to cut them out of your life. Yeah. And it hurts and it stings and it's like a whiplash. Like, what the fuck? Because you wouldn't behave that way ever, even if it was an acquaintance. Like, there are moral codes and just, I don't know. I don't even know how to label it. It's just, for me, I know that's not who I am as a person. So it always shocks me when I encounter people who behave in such a vile, disgusting, manipulative manner to serve their own agenda, their own purpose. It's one thing when people just are just being themselves and they don't mean to hurt you, but when they are manipulative and calculating and selfish, and it's disgusting. And so I've been giving the analogy about being an eagle, because eagles fly at such a high altitude that other birds who like to like attach themselves to eagles and peck at them, they can't access the eagle when the eagle's flying high enough. So this is that same type of deal. Get out of the gutter. Quit associating with these gutter rats and people who find joy in tearing others down. Bullies, mean girls, little man syndrome, narcissists, sociopaths, people who lift themselves up by devaluing others because they don't have their own light, or they can't find their own light. I don't want to say they don't have their own light. Maybe. It's not our job to save these ones. You know, it's a singular, it's your own journey to go within and to face your shadows, face your darkness, and to go in and unbury, you know, layer by layer, do that work of facing probably all the trauma they've experienced. You know, I've experienced trauma. I've been doing the work for years, and it'll never be done. But the one thing I know is life is hard enough. It's fucking hard. It's hard enough on its own. Why would you ever add more shit to anybody's plate, even if they're not your friend? Especially if they are your friend. Oh, I'm looking at myself. I have a big zit on my nose. 2 of them. And so I rubbed Manuka honey into it just now. I forgot. I was going to wash it off before I hit record. Oops. Oh well. This is me. So, analogy time. Oh wait, with these people. Psychology calls it gray rock. The only thing you can do, you can't play their games. Why would you want to play their games? The best thing you can do is what's called the gray rock method, which is just gray rock. I'm a rock. No response, no reaction. Neither good nor bad, negative nor positive, nothing. Give them absolutely nothing. Literally cut them out of your life. Energetically, emotionally, physically, spiritually, in every way possible, you cut off access. Call your power back to yourself and cut off access. I still have a stalker who still thinks he's harassing me online, and it's funny to me because I've already cut ties spiritually, energetically, and it's like, what you do is your choice. If that's how you choose to use your life source energy, if that's how you choose to waste these precious moments you have left in your life, go for it. I don't care either way what you do. So you just cut off access. Like, you showed me who you are, and this is not where I fly. This is not my fly zone. I'm an eagle. You're choosing to stay at a low altitude, and I choose otherwise. But I wanted to give a personal story. When I was, I'm running out of time. I have a couple stories, actually. So my parents were not rich by any means, middle class, hardworking. My dad he was a pastor for many years. My parents did a church plant. They started a church in Bend, Oregon, where I was born. So like half my childhood, he was a pastor. The rest of it, he was just like what they call an elder, or like a leader. So like a men's pastor, like a leader. So he stepped down from being a pastor and became like a main key figure in our church, where people like led. Every week we had a home group, small group. People would come to our house for like meals and dinner and like Bible study, and the kids would play, like my parents led it. Anyway, so they're always deeply involved in ministry in one form or another throughout my life. But in my later years, he was just working construction, and actually not just, he got many awards. He's very successful, and Ad's very successful in anything he does. He's also a sociopath. But I digress. The point being, they weren't rich. My parents were not rich, but they had 6 kids, all in private school, which is not cheap. Not cheap at all. I know he did some trade work for like whatever construction stuff that the building itself needed in exchange for tuition at times. Like when my son was little, I was the art teacher, the PE teacher, and the janitor so that my son could go to a Christian school, my firstborn. I'm out of time. Let me come back and record the next segment.